So I wasn't sure I was going to make this video, but I think there's probably some things that people can learn from it, and maybe you guys can help me a little bit by just voicing your opinion on this. And I'm just going to go over some stuff that happened with this car. A couple years ago, this rear wheel right here came off the car, and the reason that it did is because the tires were just a little bit too wide and rubbing on the shock mount, on the inner shock mount on this side, on the inside. So I didn't realize what was going on until it was too late, and that wheel came off the car on the first test drive with the new wheels and the new tires. That wheel was pretty damaged. I had to find a replacement for it, and I had to hire somebody to do the body work. It took me a long time to find somebody that was willing to do the work, and I was comfortable that they had the skills to do it. It wasn't major. It was just pushed out a little bit when the wheel came off, and it was but it needed to be done right. So I ended up through my insurance company, the people that sold me the tires accepted fault, and it took a long time though, and it was very frustrating dealing with my insurance company. And then finally with the paint and body guy, it took a little bit longer than it should have to pay him. And I think in the end, he got paid about $15,000 to do this repair. So very high-end shop, supposed to be the best in town. That's why I picked them. So this video is about some things that they did that I'm not entirely happy with. Let's start here with these scratches. And I've wiped the dust away there so you can see them nice and clearly. These were hard to see inside, and I've got it out in the sun right now. I have another video where the car's in my garage and you can barely see these. But of course, as soon as I got the car out in the sun, which was about this Thanksgiving, I could see the scratches there. And he's denying that those happened under his care. He's saying that happened since I picked up the car somehow, with the car just sitting in my garage. I've been driving it. So he's not copping to that. He is copping to this situation down here with the wheel. It's going to be a little hard to see probably, but there's some overspray on the tire there. These are $200 Mickey Thompson's, brand new, and there's some overspray on the wheel. And I don't know if you can see there, but somebody tried to wipe the overspray away with some paint thinner and wiped off some paint from the wheel. So he didn't point that out when I picked up the car. He didn't inform me of this, but he, there's no way that he can deny that this is just kind of a little bit of sloppy work on his part, because there's also some on the brand new tire that's been replaced since the other tires were brand new also. They just weren't the right size. So the tires have been changed since the accident. So there's no way he can, not cop to that. But he isn't copping to the scratch. And let me show you something else. So he did a little bit of touching up on the hood and a few other places. I know it looks really nice, but when you get in close, you can see there are some pretty small chips. There's some dust on here too now, so it may be hard to tell the difference between the two. They're small, but you see that? So that is one of those little chips there, and he used a brush and put a big glob of paint down there on one of those little chips to cover it. And there's 4 or 5 more around on the car. They're all the same. So I wasn't happy with that either. Like, that's harder for me to fix than to fix one of these little chips. And he was just kind of like, hey, that's what it is. So he's like, we could try and buff it out, but if it doesn't work, if we end up going through it, then we're gonna have to repaint the whole fender or the whole hood, whatever it is. And I was like, man, so I would be on the hook for that, is what he's saying. I would have to pay for that. So now we're in a situation I didn't know until yesterday that he was gonna say that scratch didn't happen. So now I'm not gonna take the car back to him at all. I gave him an opportunity to fix it. He basically declined, and I'm gonna take it someplace else and pay them to fix the stuff that I don't think he did well enough. So let me know. Oh, one more thing. I don't know how well you can see this, but he painted, needed some paint on a couple hubcaps too. And he painted these like with a brush. Instead of making, you just need to make one mask that's this shape, you know, and then just move it. But instead of it in spray, and you could spray it that way. Instead of doing that, he used a brush. It probably took longer, and I don't think it looks very good. So anyway, I'm wondering, maybe I'm just being too picky. You know, I mean, this car is the most valuable thing I own. It's probably like a $90,000 car. So how would you be upset? Let me know, guys. Thanks. Bye.